All right, Shalom Aleichem. Welcome to our Wednesday class on Yalkut Yosef. Last week was our test on the entire Amidah, which Baruch Hashem, everybody did great. And then we're moving forward. Next topic after Amidah is, of course, Tachanoon, Viduy. So that's what we're going to go through, Be'ezrat Hashem. And right after this topic, the Yalkut Yosef ends volume 5. So basically we're, Baruch Hashem, 5 out of 36 volumes or so, Baruch Hashem, are almost in the back. Chazdei Hashem. So good job. All right, so regarding Nefilat Apayim and Tachanoon. Tachanoon, obviously you read the Tachanoon, but what happens with the Yud Gimel Midot? Oh, I see a couple more people are joining right now. Yigal Baruch Haba, Simon Baruch Haba. We are on the topic of Viduy and Tachanoon. This is where we're holding right now. Shalom, shalom. So regarding the Tachanoon and the Viduy, if I'm alone, do I read Tachanoon? I was on the plane or whatever it is, and now I have to pray without a minyan. Do I say or do I not say? The answer is, of course, the Viduy you say, as is Steve nodding. But regarding the Yud Gimel Midot, Hashem, Hashem, Kelachum V'Chanun, etc., until you sit down and read the David, that part, Chachamim say it's correct to read it with a tune. Like as if you're reading from the Torah with a tune. That would be the correct way to do it, because in case there's a machloket, and that should only be read within a group, right? There's a discussion in the halacha where is it considered a davar shebekidusha, like kaddish, like kedusha, which requires 10 people, or you can do it alone. Because of that machloket, once you read it with tamim or you read it with a tune, then even if you're not with 10, you're still allowed to read it. So that's the recommendation. But if you're alone, make sure to read it with a tune. Regarding the Ashamnu Bagadnu, if you guys look at this list, you'll say, oh my God, I'm a tzaddik. Any of these things here on the list, I have nothing to do with them. I steal, I betrayed, I cheated, I this, I that. One guy can get up and say, no, this has nothing to do with me. I'm going to skip the Viduy. I once heard an old lady calling the son of Rav Ovadia on the radio show. His name is Rav Avram Yosef. Avram Yosef, she called him up and she said, the pasuk says in Darkat Hamazon, Na raiti vegam zakanti, velo raiti tzaddik nezav, which means from youth to old age, I've never seen a tzaddik that Hashem left him. And this lady was an old lady. She was a Holocaust survivor. She said, I feel difficult reading this pasuk because in the Holocaust, I was young and now I'm old, and I've seen people that Hashem chas v'chalila left them. It was a tough question to ask, not to get into all the details that he answered, but he said, no, that's Nariti v'gam zakanti doesn't refer to I was old in this age. It means that whoever has an upper view from above sees that Hashem never leaves him. If it seems like if tzaddik is left in this world, the reward is coming in the next world. So don't take it literally, and of course you should keep on reading it. Why am I saying this? In the Tachanoon, there are certain things that you say I've never done before. No, this guy's a rabbi, he never does all these things, but you're going to tell him to read the Tachanoon. But the answer is the Viduy. The answer is that there are a few reasons why he should be reading this Viduy. Anybody know any of the reasons?
I would guess
for the Keilah.
Yeah, that's what you were going to say also, Steve?
I would guess we're not really praying for us. We're praying for all Jews.
So you're both basically saying, thinking of the greater good, meaning even if it's not for me, that's one of the answers. There's a greater good. There are other people, and this could be, a Viduy for everyone.
Or we ask forgiveness for a sin we possibly might be doing in the future, I guess. Is that possible?
I hope, no, I don't know. That's a little tough to say because...
Unintentionally, obviously.
Obviously, yeah. No, I mean, you have to hope that you won't do sins in the future. So that's...
Yeah, of course.
The Chachamim talk about that. Someone says, if I shall sin and do teshuvah, you don't accept him. Which means you're not saying, I'm gonna sin. But you're saying, if it happens, it's a nice idea. But really, the Viduy is a confession. It's one of the mitzvot that we have, and it's to confess on what we did in the past. Interesting. I never heard that before, that it's futuristic. But one of the interpretations is that even though, I'll give you a chizuk to what I'm about to say. Even though I didn't do anything. Someone asking something? Ilan?
No, I thought maybe for if you do by b'shogeg, even a rabbi might make a mistake and not know about it, so he wants to ask for forgiveness.
Very good. Which means that maybe people consider sinning by doing an action. Maybe it was a thought. Some thoughts are problematic also. Thoughts in arayot or thoughts in avodah zarah. Even the thought is a problem. So that's definitely a possibility as well. But we say over there, Anachnu va'avotenu, and our fathers sinned. Whoa, someone is doing a Viduy for his father, that already sounds a little bit difficult. And the Kubalim explained that our avot means us in the last reincarnation, which means we believe that our neshamot are not fresh neshamot in this world. We have must been here a few rounds, and every time we're here to fix a little bit, the parts that our neshama fixed, these are deep concepts that we don't really understand, but the part that the neshama fixed stays up there, but there's still little parts that haven't been completed, missing mitzvot, or chas v'chayil, if somebody stole from somebody in the last Gilgul, and this Gilgul comes and he's supposed to find, Hashem makes it in a situation that he will be able to return it if he does the right thing, etc. That's the concept of tikkunim, to fix in this world. So the idea in the Viduy is maybe I'm confessing now for something that I didn't do in this reincarnation, but I'm confessing for the past. The neshama is the same. So you're by confession, you're fixing what you've done in the past, and that will explain why we say Anachnu va'avotenu. My father sinned. How can I say that about my dad? I'm referring to myself, my Av. I'm the son of, right? Like a lot of the times when it says Ben, it doesn't mean like actual son, but it's referring to a concept of something that is above him. Above me was what I was in the past, and therefore that could be a reason to confession. So therefore, even if the list looks not familiar to you, you of course say everything on the list. Regarding Yud Gimel Midot, we have to stand. Even though we said that there's a machloket, is it a davar shebakdusha, not a davar shebakdusha, but the bottom line, the halacha is that we stand when it comes to the Yud Gimel Midot. Even if I'm not with the chazan and I'm somewhere else, you hear the Yud Gimel Midot, you should be standing up. Should you verbalize? Depends. If you're in an area where you cannot talk, if you're in Bechot Kriyat Shema, then you don't verbalize, but at least stand. Now, regarding the motion that we do while we're doing the Viduy, where does this come from? So the Ari Kadosh brings in Shara Kavanot, the student of the Ari, his name was Amalch, where he wrote all the learnings that he received from his rabbi. The Ari Kadosh was the great Kabbalist that lived about 450, 500 years ago. Some say he's the reincarnation of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai that wrote the Zohar, and he came back to interpret what he wrote in the Zohar, because for that gap of, 1,200 years or so between them, no one explained it as explicit as him. So people believe that, there's a lot of theories about this, but either way, it was a huge neshama that, even though there was a halachic world, that, we always follow halacha, but he was one of the rabbis that brought Kabbalah into the halachic world, which means a lot of the places in our tefillah, even though usually when we have a contradiction between halacha and Kabbalah, we follow halacha, but in tefillah, a lot of the times, everybody accepted the Ari and said, no. When it comes to praying to Hashem, let's listen to this Kabbalist, because he was one of the rabbis that, everybody accepted. Everybody saw this was something special. The teachings that he brought to the world were only in 18, 20 months or so. That was, the time that his student discovered him, the Malchua of Chaim Vital. And in that time, he took from him as much as he could. And after he passed away, the Ari Kadosh at a very young age, less than 40, 39, 38, there's discussion exactly what the age was. And his student tried to compile and to write down what he learned from him, because he was the only one that was allowed to pass down the Torah of the Ari, because it was so high, and the Ari did not trust all of his students that they will maybe miss something or do something incorrect. He only trusted him that he will pass it down exactly like his rabbi taught him. So he tried passing it down, and there's so much material, and you cannot believe that all this material was brought down from a year and a half that the student spent with his rabbi. Either way, one of the books written is called Shara Kavanot. It's a book. I have it here. I think I do. Yeah. This is Shara Kavanot. See, they're very big, juicy books, and each one has 4 columns with very small handwriting. And basically, maybe one day, B'ezrat Hashem, but at least we have the book. But the idea is in this book to learn the kavanot of the tefillah, meaning the basic kavanah is understanding the words that we're saying, which we all try to do. But the Ari brought down higher level of kavanot. This is for the mekubalim. Hopefully, you have to try to one day learn a little bit of that, but just know that exists. So in the book Shara Kavanot, over there, he brings that a person should tap against his heart with his fist while doing the Viduy, right? As if he's punching his heart. When he says Hashem Baganu, he's upset with his heart. That's the confession. That's the source. That's where we get it. This is not from 2,000 years ago. This is from less than 500 years ago in the times of the Ari Kadosh.
Do we do that in Slach Lanu during the Amidah?
We do that as well in Slach Lanu, but he didn't say here that that's brought down in Shara Kavanot. So I don't know what's the source to that. I don't remember, it doesn't mean that if I don't remember, it doesn't exist, but I don't remember this from the sources of the Tanaim, and, I'm sure it's something also that came later. But that's 2 taps, or Ashkenazim, I see some of them do 3 taps. Regarding the Ashamnu Bagadnu, the Yalkut Yosef brings down the source of this. That's from Shara Kavanot. Tzlach Lanu, you're giving me homework. I need to see where the source for that is. Hashem.
Is there a tap limit? I didn't know there was a Selach Lanu that was only 2 taps.
What do you do in Tzlach Lanu?
You
tap away?
No, I guess I was never taught.
You weren't aware that we all do taps?
Well, I do the taps, yes.
You do?
Yeah, I think I do 3 or 4 based on the words, honestly. That's what.
Right? I noticed that the Sfaradim customers we do Slach Lanu Avinu Kichatanu, Mechol Lanu Malkenu Kifashanu. So 2 for each line that begins, we do 1 for the beginning. That's the custom. But again, let me look at this, come back to you next week with, exact sources to see exactly how this developed and why is there a difference between the Ashkenazim and the Sephardim.
In Tachanoon, for every sin we do it.
Yeah, Shamnu, Bagadnu, that's brought down by the Riyah Kadosh and Shara Kavanot.
Okay.
Now, a lot of us, when we are Chazanim, we say the Vidui with a low voice because, it's a confession, we do it quietly. Really says the Yalkut Yosef, the correct way for the Chazan to do the Vidui is to say it out loud. You don't have to lower your voice. Maybe, I don't know, out of shame, it's embarrassing to confess out loud. But at the end of the day, if we remember what the purpose of the Chazan is, he's there to be Mutzi Dechova, the crowd. So the Sfaradim, the custom is, we say it out loud, that's the right way to do it. To tell you that people follow this halacha, I don't know. I haven't seen so many Chazanim doing it out loud, but I've seen Chazanim that say it in a way that you could hear it. Maybe don't scream it, with the Chazanut like Tfilat Friday night, but let people hear it because you're Motzi Yedei others. That can't be. All right. Yud Gimel Midot, Hashem Kel Rachum There's a custom that people count them with their fingers. They say Kel, Rachum, V'Chanun, Er Chapayim, V'Rav Chesed. He says, Yalkut Yosef, there's a contradiction between the poskim. What's the first one of the 13 midot? Is it Hashem? Or is it Kel, Rachum V'Chanun, etc.? Where does it begin? And according to that, the Yud Gimel midot could change. So when you're counting, if you are doing wrong, then you're messing up the whole thing. So why do something that you're not sure about? Therefore, it says the Yalkut Yosef, verbalize it with your mouth. For sure, you covered the Yud Gimel midot, but don't count them with your fingers because we do not know where the Yud Gimel midot begin. All right. Regarding the part that we sit down and we read Le David Elecha Hashem Nafshi Esa, etc. The Ashkenazim read something different, and while reading it, also some of them have a custom to put their hand on their head like that. You have ever seen that before? The Ashkenazim, the Mamash, it's called Nefilat Apayim. Nefilat Apayim is to fall down on your hand. So really the source of what this is called comes from that, right? That's their custom, and they actually do it. But the Zohar HaKadosh, and we Sephardim, we like the Zohar, right? Once someone told me, what is Sephardi? There's Pshat, Remez, Drash, Sod. There are 4 levels of the Torah. There's the Pshat, basic halachot, that's what we're learning now. Remez is the next level, which is hints, in the readings between the letters, hints, gematria, stuff like that. Drash, where you take a word from here and a word from here, and you give a drasha, an idea. And Sod are the secrets, like what we were talking about, the Ari HaKadosh. So the Sephardim, they take the Pshat, Remez, Drash, Sod, and they put the Samech of the Sod, the secrets of the Torah, Sefarad. They put it in the beginning. In other words, the Sfaradi, he likes the secrets, he likes the Zohar HaKadosh. And so the Zohar HaKadosh says that if you read without kavanah, this Nefilat Apayim, you put your hand, but you're not doing the proper kavanah, it chas v'chayila could make somebody leave the world before he needs to leave the world, without elaborating on this. Meaning, according to the Kabbalah, this part is the strongest part of the tefillah. You had the high part, which was Amidah. You went up step by step. Remember in the beginning, when we started talking about the Amidah, we said that there are 4 worlds. Atzilut, Biriya, Yetzirah, Ve'asiyah. Atzilut is the highest world. That world is the world that you reach when you're in Amidah. It's like the headquarters of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so to speak. You're up there and you're praying. Why? Why did you do all of that according to the Kabbalah? You climbed all the way up there so that you have the strength to do the Nefilat Apayim. What's the Nefilat Apayim? Is to go down into all our sins and all the low parts that we've caused in the world, whatever that means in spiritual ways, and lift it up. Like there's sparks of Kedusha, it's called Mitzitzot Kedusha, that because of our sins, we've brought Kedusha down, and through our Viduy, we are trying to bring it up. So we grab energy with the Amidah towards the Viduy, towards the Nefilat Apayim, the sitting down, so that we could have strength enough to lift that up. Says the Zohar Kadosh, who knows if you'll have enough strength? Don't do the full action, because if you're not there with the right kavanot, chas v'chalila, it could do bad things to you. So the Sfaradim custom is, we read it, but we don't do the action with the hand, because that's already really Nefilat Apayim. So we're trying to like stay comfortable from both sides. We're still doing it, but we're not putting ourselves in danger. Mincha. When is the right time to read Amidah? When Mincha, which means, let's say, is it sunset? Is it Tzet HaKochavim? Until when can I read Mincha? I'm running late. I'm looking at the time. I see my Zmanim says sunset 5:12. Now I see 5:15. Is sunset my deadline? What is the deadline? Anybody know the deadline? According to Sfaradim, the Machloket Ashkenazim, it's sometimes a little bit different with them, but we follow Yalkut Yosef, the Sfaradim.
I think you could start within 13 minutes after sunset.
13, if we want to be exact, 13 and a half minutes. Almost, yeah. It's that's the time. It's 3/4 of 18 minutes. That's how you get the 13 and a half, if I'm not mistaken, right? 4.5 times 4 is 18. 3/4 of 18 minutes. Of course, these are temporary minutes. Remember, if we learned what sha'ot zmaniot mean, you take the hours that the sun is out. In the winter, it's 10. In the summer, it's 14. In the middle of the year, it's 12 hours. So in each hour will be 60 minutes. But in the summer, an hour could be 70 minutes. And in the winter, a halachic hour could be 50 minutes. Whatever it is, you take those minutes, and 13 and a half minutes after sunset, according to Sfaradim, is already Tzet HaKochavim. That's already time for Alvit. For example, a woman that wants to dip in the mikveh, that's the earliest time that they allow her to dip in the mikveh, because to us, that's already nighttime, even though outside it looks like it's lit up. So if you reach that point, you're done with mincha. But even if you started the Amidah 30 seconds before that, you're allowed to continue, no problem. The only problem is the starting. So you start the Amidah up to 13 and a half, you have the flight or whatever it is, you ran late, look at the time. Shkia, how much time passed? 10 minutes, 11 minutes passed, you're still good. If 15 minutes passed, already you had a problem. What happens when there's a chatan in Bet HaKnesset? I think we all love it when we have chatanim in Bet HaKnesset. According to the Kabbalah, the Viduy and the Tachanoon is like, as we explained, it's the high part of the tefillah. A lot of mekubalim, when there's a chatan, they don't like it. They want to go to a different minyan. They don't want to miss the Viduy because they understand what they're doing over there. But most of us, everybody's in a rush. There's work, there's this, there's that. Hopefully not. Hopefully we stay after and learn. But the reality is, when you have a chatan in the crowd, there is no Tachanoon. How long is it poter the crowd from Tachanoon? 7 days, including the day of the wedding, meaning if it was night, so the next morning only counts as the first day. For 7 days, any minyan that he is there, then there is no Tachanoon. However, what if the chatan prayed in the earlier minyan, but now he's sitting and he's learning, and the next minyan started and he's there. Now they get to Tachanoon. Say Tachanoon or don't say Tachanoon? What do you say? Yalkut Yosef says he can only exempt the crowd from Tachanoon if he is praying with them. If he already prayed and he's just sitting there, sorry everybody, you're not exempt. I don't know what the Mashadi custom is, but we'll see soon when it comes to Brit Milah. There's also a discussion about this. We'll see. The Mashadis a little bit have a custom that the Yalkut Yosef brings.
What about the date, like he's getting married at night and he's in Shacharit that morning before the Chatan?
Right. So no, we say that Shacharit definitely not. Only if there's a mincha that is done right before the chuppah. Not that you did it in shul and then you went to the chuppah. If the chatan is with you and right before the chuppah they're doing a mincha, meaning it's very close to the chuppah, then in that mincha, we don't say the tachanun. But if it's not that close one, then even in mincha on that day, if he's there still, we're going to say the tachanun. Specifically for him, there's a different deen, and there's a custom that the chatan says a very big confession on his specific mincha. That's a different story. But for the crowd, if you're coming to the wedding and they're saying, oh, mincha before the chuppah, no tachanun. But if it's done from before, even if the chatan is there, he's not chatan yet, you have to say the tachanun. La'avdil. Same thing with bet ha'avel. If you are praying Lo Alenu in the house of someone that is mourning, maybe this is a good opportunity to remind that the Shiur B'ezrat Hashem should be for the Ilu Neshama of my dear father-in-law, Yehuda Ben Yafa, which was a great part of this class for many years. So this should be for his Ilu Neshama B'ezrat Hashem. 7 days of mourning. In the home of the Avel, there is no Viduy. But what happens if the Avel comes to Kanisa? He couldn't get a minyan in his home, and he comes to Kanisa for some reason, and they do the minyan over there. Do they say Tachanoon or do they not say Tachanoon? Over there, there's a machloket. Some say no, only Avel in his home. But outside of his home, there's no reason, and therefore we say, some say don't. Anybody know what the Masharis do? You guys are living there. We don't say. Even if the Avel is coming to shul, still in shul, there's no Tachanoon. Yes, Steve?
No, we don't say it if they're in the minyan.
That's the so
They're just, if that's their second minyan, they're just sitting there. I don't know. I don't think so.
Listen, once it comes to customs, you should know regarding Avelut, Lo Alenu, should not know. This should all be only in theory. But almost everything that happens with Avelut, almost everything has to do with minhagim, customs. Chazon Ovadia, Ovadia Yosef has 3 books on Avelut in Chazon Ovadia. He actually wrote it while he was Avel, because when someone is Avel, you cannot learn Torah. But you cannot detach a Rav Ovadia from Torah. So the only things you're allowed to learn is halachot of sad stuff like Avelut, like what we learn on Tisha B'Av, with the story of Yov and the destruction of the Mikdash, topics that are sad. So in this time, he decided, I can't stop writing, and he wrote 3 books, Chazon Ovadia, with questions and topics on Avelut. So basically, almost everything is based, they're halachot, obviously, but almost everything is customs. Us, the family specifically now, is dealing with questions, what grape to do, what stone to do, what do you write on it, we're not. It's almost all customs. There's no rule, except for certain halachot, like not learning Torah, etc. So regarding the Viduy as well, he says that there's a machloket, some do like this, some do like that. Whatever you do, you have what to lean on. The Baruch Hashem, the Masharis, obviously are doing right as well. What happens in a Brit Milah? In Brit Milah, all the minyans that come after the Brit Milah, let's say the minyan did a Netz minyan, 6 o'clock, the 7, the 8 o'clock, all the minyanim that come after in that shul do not have to say Viduy. Regarding the minyan that is before, let's say they did it in the 8:30 minyan. Yigal, imagine you have a Brit in your 8:30 minyan. Yigal, that minyan is still going strong?
Baruch Hashem.
Baruch Hashem, Chazaku Baruch. Someone wants to do a simcha over there, B'ezrat Hashem, they do a Brit Milah. The guys that prayed there earlier, Rabbi Moti's minyan, do they say or do they not say? Over there, the Yalkut Yosef says, there's a machloket as well. Do we not? Anybody that does whatever they want to do, they have what to rely on. Anybody knows what the Masharis do? I think the Masharis probably...
We don't say it. We actually had it this week.
Yeah?
If we know there's going to be a Brit in that shul or in a minyan, they don't say it in the previous minyans.
Masharis, Baruch Hashem, they even say if it's in a different building, if it's in the community, Baruch Hashem, we're kulana b'yachad.
Very good, very good. So that's the halakha that the Yalkut Yosef is bringing. Yes, asking.
Ziv, I'm just overhearing you, sure. And I just want to mention to you, much of this favorite prayer is Yehi Shem.
Or Rabbi Hananiah ben Akashia, when the Torah is finished, everybody gets.
That's true.
Many years ago, I was once in a Bet Knesset in Ra'anana, and I was speaking on Shabbat, and there's a guy in the crowd. He's a funny guy. He was half asleep, one of those funny characters. So I as he woke up from the table, I said something that sounded like I'm finishing. I wasn't finishing. I was just finishing a point. But he woke up and he heard it and he said, Rabbi Hananiah, and everybody looked at it. Yeah, people are excited for the end. I hear what you're saying. Yeah, that's the... No, but what we're learning here today is that don't give up on Tachanoon so easily. In fact, it's a very important part. We're here to fix. That's why we're visiting this world, even though we try to make the best of it. But this world has challenges and difficulties we shouldn't have. But if they come, why? Why are we here? There's stuff to fix. Part of the fixing is done through the Tachanoon. So regarding Brit Milah, we just mentioned that there's machloket regarding what happens before. The Masharis, we see that they don't say. If there's Avia Ben or the Mohel or the Sandak, even if he was a Mohel or a Sandak or Avia Ben in a different shul, if right now he is in the building the whole day, Shacharit and Mincha, no Tachanoon. The man brings the Simcha with him to where he goes, one of those 3. Okay? So that's an important halakha as well. He brings down what the Mashari custom is. He says some communities have a custom that if in the whole city there's a Brit Milah, the whole city doesn't say Tachanoon. The whole city, not just the whole community. Imagine that if there's a Brit Milah in Great Neck, no, Great Neck doesn't have a, know how that could happen, but he says even if they do that, they have what to rely on. But that's not our custom, says the Yalkut Yosef. But again, custom. If you do it, you have what to rely on. But he says, but if you're starting a new community, like say, new community is born, it's good not to adopt that custom. It's meaning for him, you understand that the whole city shouldn't say Tachanoon because of one bit Knesset. If it's old, we don't fight old minhagim. But if it's something you're starting, don't take upon yourself that minhag. Siyum Masechet. If there's a Siyum Masechet in the bit Knesset, so it depends. It doesn't exempt you throughout the whole day. You're only exempt from Viduy and the mincha that is right before that Siyum Masechet that comes with the Suda. But if in the morning the Gabbai says, tonight we're having a Siyum Masechet over here, no Tachanoon. Say, what are you doing? Yalkut Yosef doesn't say that. That's not a halakha. No Tachanoon, only in the meal, right before the meal. If you say mincha, that would be the time to be exempt from it. All right. Now we have כשאין תחנון, ספרדים לא קוראים למנצח. So, introduction. We're now in Siman Kuf Lamed Bet, 132. This Siman already, we finished the Tachanoon, we finished the Viduy. What's the next part that we get to? Ashrei Shlevetecha. We say Ashrei, we've spoken about Ashrei before, I'm not going to repeat it. Especially Potech et Yadecha, you should have Kavanah, regarding that the Parnasah comes from Hashem and that Pasuk, and if you did not have Kavanah, you should return and say that Pasuk again. So that was Ashrei. But when we don't have Tachanoon, do we read Lamnatzach or do we not read Lamnatzach? Ashkenazim sometimes still do it, depends. Sfaradim, we do not read Lamnatzach. Anybody know why we do not read Lamnatzach after Ashrei when there's Tachanoon? The answer is in the Pasuk. The second Pasuk. Lamnatzach Mizmor David, what does it say? Ya'amcha Hashem beyom tzara. Hashem should answer you in a day that is a tzara, a problem, a difficulty. So, since today there's no Tachanoon, we don't want to mention Yom Tzara, we don't want to mention difficulties when there's no Tachanoon. It's for a happy reason, and therefore, don't mention Yom Tzara, don't mention a bad day, and that's why we don't say that.
Is it a bad thing to still say it? Isn't it like a part of Tehillim or something? Lamanatzeach?
You're right, which means if you finish the Tefillah and now you want to read Tehillim, in Tehillim, obviously, there's a lot of troubles that David HaMelech is facing over there, Yom Tzara, etc. There's no problem reading it. Regarding the Tefillah, since there's there's like steps that are built one on top of the other here, and we're growing and coming, you're flying and then you're landing. So the spiritual calculations, which I don't fully understand, says that if you're in the Tefillah, don't say it. Same thing with Hallel. Those that have a controversy in Israel regarding on Yom Ha'atzmaut, do we say Hallel with a bracha? Do we not say Hallel? Everybody agrees that if you finish the Tefillah and you just want to read the Hallel, for sure there's no problem. But when you have the stuff that are built one on top of the other, if you remove or add something, you may cause an ifsek or you may, lack something. So over there's different calculations besides what happens after the tefillah. All right, I see time is come. We'll continue from here next time. Bezat Hashem, Rabotai. Azakim Beruchim. Great seeing you.
Thank you.
Zag Baruch.
Bye.